Hi. Okay. Yeah, is it in here? Okay.
So I guess should we start out talking about graphic novels since we're all really excited about them?
Yeah.
So can I hear about Persepolis?
Yeah.
Is that a city?
Yeah, I think it's the name of the old capital of.
I didn't do any research about it, but
I've never heard that word before, so
me neither.
I think it's the name of the old capital, but I don't know if it was like the capital of Iran when Iran was Iran, or if it was like still.
They ran away from that.
Sorry,
Did you just say what I thought you said?
I'm 6 years old.
but it's super good. It's just.
so good. It's her experiences during the Cultural Revolution, the Islamic Revolution.
Mhm.
in Iran,
Like
and
just a girl's or a woman's or
Yeah,
when
no,
she's
it's very-
growing up while it's happening,
Okay.
from like ages 6 to 14.
And her parents are pretty liberal. Like,
yeah, which is pretty dangerous during the
Mhm.
revolution. So
Okay.
it's pretty.
so she lives in Indiana for
Oh wow.
I don't know, like 4 or 5 years.
Like Indiana,
like
No, Indiana.
in Vienna.
She
I was
left-
Indiana.
Like completely different book. So how did she leave? Like how did she?
Her parents
were able-
basically sent her away.
yeah.
Because it was dangerous. Because they felt like they were in danger, I think.
What did you learn from reading it?
I had no idea about anything happening during that, so it was a very eye-opening experience, and it made me want to do more research
Yeah, like
into the event.
totally. And
I
the,
had no idea.
I don't know, they're just. I don't know, you kind of have like a single story, like Aditya was saying, of
Yeah.
like what Iran is and what those people believe and think. And I mean, obviously, if maybe you spend more time thinking about it, you would kind of realize the diversity in thought and kind of people groups within that country. But
Do you feel like the book was like an accurate representation then, or is it?
yeah,
something
because it's a
that-
memoir.
It's a memoir.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you learn
So it's coming
so
from a
much
single
just
person's
through her
perspective.
experience.
How
It's
she
just
saw
like-
it. It was just, I don't know. I read it in one
And
day.
it's
Yeah.
super relatable.
Mhm.
Like, if you are our age and, I don't know, have grown up, you can pretty much relate to
I can't imagine like the difference between Vienna and Iran is probably like very, very stark, and like your parents sending you away. I feel like
That would
be really hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you said she was like
14.
A young female.
14.
Was she sent to live with family, or was you're just gonna go to Vienna, just have fun?
See ya.
Kind of. She was supposed to live with her mom's friend, I think it was,
Yeah,
but she bounced around a lot when she was in Vienna and like experienced a lot of cultural dissonance and racism that totally affected her emotional state. And then
Yeah.
when she did go back to Iran, she felt like she didn't fit in because she had been living in Vienna for so long.
Wow.
So
It's kind of like Marisol McDonald. Like doesn't match anywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we'll get to that book.
No, but a lot like that for sure.
Yeah, I think one thing.
Oh, sorry.
I think one thing I learned from reading these is that like I had like a single story of graphic novels. I guess in my brain was that like they weren't literary, like they didn't have like deep themes or whatever. It was like about superheroes.
Yeah,
or
I always
about,
thought
like,
they were
Captain
very,
Underpants or whatever.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Captain
I don't know,
Underpants.
like that was like my idea of it, and so like
To actually have like kind of like deep literature and book like that. Yeah.
and like really touch on that stuff. And I think like you're able to really connect with it too because they're like very short little windows into their lives, like this little dialogue or little interaction, and that's kind of how I remember my life too. It's not like full, like I don't remember like all of those just in my life, but like very little moments that are like really impactful.
Yeah.
I think that's something that graphic novels capture.
What were the illustrations like?
I wish I had brought it with me.
I know, me too. But
Black
black and white, pretty simple.
Yeah.
Simple, but still they conveyed like
Really deep meaning at the same
a lot,
time.
yeah, and a lot of emotion, sort of like I don't know, just captured the vibe of like being a kid or like being in the
Did like body language or anything like that stand out in Persepolis? Because like sometimes you got more from the pictures than just the words. 'Cause I
Yeah,
know
like, it
sides
wouldn't
of
have
our
made
friends that
sense
definitely have
About the
yeah,
pictures.
without the pictures at all. They they did.
It would or would not have made
Would
sense?
not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like with the one that we read, Silence of Our Friends, that if you read it without the text, you would have a general understanding of what's happening just based off of like the body language, the facial expressions, like the like movements and stuff. But I'm not sure that I would have gotten like the deep down message from it. If I
So what was the
hadn't
deep
read
down
it.
message?
It was from like two different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it
during
like
the civil
switched
rights
back and
movement.
forth between the black guy who was the head of some kind of social justice group at a college, and then the white guy was a news reporter. It was them just
And
like
it was like their
being
families.
Yeah.
So it was like the white family with the news reporter, they were trying to teach their children like not to call African Americans like niggers
Yeah.
and stuff like that because that's what everyone in the book was calling them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were trying to teach them to be a good person. And
Yeah.
then it was also from like the African Americans' perspectives, where like the man tried to go to the store with his son to like buy common necessities or whatever. Like I think he was buying like chicken legs, like food.
Yeah, he's chicken
And,
necks.
yeah.
I was like, what is that?
And so then
Crabbing.
yeah, and so a customer like came up behind him, like a white man,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, we used to have a sign that says like no niggers allowed here, blah blah blah, like get moving, stuff
Yeah.
like that." And so like he couldn't even like, he felt I think like embarrassed and like angry and upset and frustrated, and so like he left, and like his son was like,
Yeah, where are the
Where's-
chicken necks? And
yeah.
he's like, we gotta go somewhere else.
yeah, and so just like things like that, and then like his daughter was like riding her bike to the store with her brother, and they got like ran off the road, and she got like really injured, but she didn't die, thankfully. But,
Yeah, and also like, and then it was in Texas too, so like very height like of all of the civil rights.
The whole thing was set in Texas.
Yeah, and then also like a big part of it too was like veterans and war and like Vietnam and like what that meant for like people coming back or being there, and like alcoholism and like how that affected people's decisions or how that was a big part of people's
That's super
lives.
interesting.
What else? There was the daughter of the white man. One of his daughters was blind, and like that was like learning, like thinking about that, and like
oh, that was really interesting too when
When she
they were
felt it,
introduced
yeah.
to like the white children were introduced to the black children,
Mm-hmm.
and the blind daughter was like feeling their face and their
Mhm.
hair, and
Hair.
then she's like, "Oh, like your hair feels funny," and then like the black children to the white children were like, "Your hair feels funny."
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting to like I don't know read about that.
So did those two characters ever meet?
yeah.
They had each other because he was like a news reporter and he was covering
Oh, okay.
African Americans like story.
And they became buddies, and like
Yeah.
he welcomed. They like welcomed each other into their homes.
What is it?
and
Men
stuff,
of
which-
conscious? Isn't that what they
Yeah.
said like multiple times?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we
That
have to
was
be men
stated
of
like quite a
conscious.
few
Yeah.
times.
I
Yeah.
really like that. And one thing though too is there is this police riot that happened.
At the very end.
Yeah, and then the white main character guy, he like saw that his friend had been injured or taken away, and then didn't help him. And then because he was still reporting and like still covering stuff, and then he was part of the whole court hearing about what happened, and was able to like be on the stand and talk about like
Because an officer got shot.
yeah, and
Oh,
talk
okay.
about like actually like the white police officers shot first, like it wasn't the African Americans.
Like I think
That
what it
was
came down
super
to was like
interesting.
it was really
the cop was
cool.
shooting at this light, and the bullet like ricocheted off the light and hit him.
a different.
But a different
Yeah.
cop. Okay, and then they're
Oh, okay.
like the
So it was friendly fire basically from
Yeah.
Ricochet, and everybody was trying to say that it was
coming from
a
like
black student
and the
from a second
reporter
story
in
window.
the story was
Yeah,
when
he saw it live, but didn't get it on camera.
mhm.
So his testimony was
was like the
basically
make or
like,
break it thing.
yeah,
There's this super,
Super cool.
famous photo from the uprising in, oh gosh, it's recent, in like the past
Ferguson?
year or two. Yeah, I think it was Ferguson. I don't want to like spew wrong information, but
could have also
where a
been
news
Chicago
reporter,
or
similar
something.
situation, a news reporter took a photo of a black man who was throwing like like one of those smoke like
Bombs or
bombs
whatever,
basically,
yeah.
or like I don't know if it releases smoke or like
Tear gas or
tear gas. Yeah, I think it was tear gas.
The cop was throwing it?
Well, it had been thrown by the cops,
Oh.
landed at this man's feet. So this man picks it back up and he's throwing it back to where it came from. You know, like I don't know. And
If
it
something
became
came
a
at
super
me, I would
famous
try and get it
photo.
away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
It's
a normal
like,
reaction.
or
would
is
just
it
be
like
like,
really
"Oh."
brave that he reached out and picked it up?
Yeah.
But so there was a lot of controversy over that.
And also,
photo that
like,
reminds me of
showing
that
him
situation.
do that is kind of like, you don't see that, like, that was thrown at him first.
Exactly.
You know, it's like the single story thing. It's like you see that he's fighting back and throwing. You see that he's fighting and throwing something, but you don't see that that was something that, like, the people who were, like, there to protect him, like, threw at him.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting.
And I think that the news reporter, though, did advocate for what really happened.
Oh, sweet. That's
Yeah.
very, like,
Very
mirrors
similar
this.
story.
Yeah, that's
Um,
what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it talked a lot about, like, also, like, bias in the media, and, like, his
Mhm.
boss was really racist, didn't
Yeah.
want him to, like, the news reporter guy didn't want him to, like, be friends with these people or cover it from a certain angle. He was
Mhm.
like, you need to be, like, on our side.
Yeah, he said he would fire him if he kept covering this story, basically. He was like, they don't deserve to be on the
Oh my
news,
God.
was basically what he was saying.
What I appreciated most about the book was that I thought that it did a good job of covering like both angles, like from his family side and then their family
And I
side.
liked watching it come together too, to when
Yeah.
they first went, because like the black guy was like, I don't know if I can have you over at my house because we've never had a white person in our
Mhm.
household before.
Yeah,
And like his wife was originally against it.
She
was
was
like,
like,
no,
no,
I don't want white
absolutely
people in
not.
my house.
Yeah.
But then like they showed a little compassion, a little acceptance, and then they invited the African American family over to their house after that too. And I really liked watching that happen.
and the kids like played outside, and then they vibed together over "I'm a Soul."
Yeah, that song, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
One thing, too, that was really interesting is, like, the white male's friend from Vietnam, like, came and visited, and, like, he was like, I don't have a place to stay, like, I'm, like, homeless right now, like, I broke up with my wife or whatever she was, and, like, asked to stay the night, and then they were, like, drinking and talking together, and then, like, he ended up saying some, like, really, like, rude things about the other family, and was, like, aggressive
He
with
dropped
the
the
kids.
N-word like a couple times
Yeah.
in front of
Wow.
the kids.
And then the man was like, you need to go.
Like,
You
get out of
need
my
to Get out of my
house."
house. And I thought that
And
was
then
really interesting.
the drunk man that was making the racist comments was like, "Well, aren't you my friend?
Yeah.
Aren't you my friend?" And then the dad that's like trying to teach his children to be good, moral people was like, "No, I'm not your friend." Like,
Not
and
anymore.
I was like, "Yes."
Oh, that yeah.
What I really liked throughout the book was the role that the white reporters' kids played, and how they always like they didn't give in to like when their friends were playing on the street and their friends were saying the N-word a lot, and the kids were like, "Don't say that."
Yeah.
And then like the kids like
I
they
felt like
stood up for
towards
their
the
dad more than once.
Yeah.
And then even when the Vietnam friend was over, they were watching TV together. And remember, because like they were doing like the little news thing. Like the kids would get in a cardboard box, and they'd pretend to be on the news. And then he basically was like, "Oh, this isn't funny. Do some nigger stuff. That's funny." And then they were like, "No, you can't say that." So like the
Like not in their
kids,
house, yeah.
more than once, were the ones
Stood up.
stepping up, saying, "You can't say that."
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
I think that, like, mirrored to me, like, sometimes, like, kids don't, like, adults, they want to do things, but they've, like, come up against those barriers so many times in their lives that they're like, no, this is just how it is. And, like, kids are like, wait, like, actually, like, this isn't right, or, like, we can change this. Like, there's still, like, hope there, and, like, you can see that in them, and I think that, like, the dad got, both of the parents, like, saw through their eyes a little bit. They're like, wait, like, we need to change this because we have kids.
Yeah.
And I felt like at the beginning it was a little more difficult for the kids to be as accepting.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly but surely they were.
I mean, some of that's probably because of what society is saying to like the people
Exactly,
around
because
them
they were
saying versus
seeing
their
everything.
family.
And so to them they're like kind of at this like,
The conflict, like an internal conflict, like
do I believe my parents or do I believe
Believe
everybody
everybody
else?
That happened in Persepolis too. And her parents finally sat her down and were like, "Okay, well, here's what's really happening." Like, and she was just like amazed.
Yeah.
Because it had come up like she was like, "Well, no, it says this in my textbook, my school
And it says
textbook,
it's on
so
the
it must
news,
be."
and
And it
stuff like
says, and they're like, "Well, they're not actually."
So it's like,
telling
what
the
do you
truth."
believe at that point?
Yeah.
Who wrote that book? Were they
That's a good
coming from
question. I
a?
didn't
I don't.
check.
I should
I
have
didn't
checked.
pay attention.
That's what we learned.
Yeah.
That's what we learned last week, and I didn't follow that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Research that.
I don't know, but another thing I did like too was that both of the male leads, like they had like strong moral character, but they also weren't perfect.
They showed their weaknesses.
Yeah, like the white man was like drinking quite a bit, and then the African American man like hit his son at one point too, after he was like really frustrated about not getting chicken legs.
Yeah.
Which I was like, for both of those things, I was like, whoa. That was
Yeah.
also like, they're not like superhuman.
They're real humans.
Yeah.
And I like how the book ended too. Like it just kind of came to an abrupt stop with a lady coming into the office saying King was just shot, like Martin Luther King, and then
As the
that
blind girl was
ended
in,
the
like,
book.
lessons.
Like that was it.
What an interesting book to
Yeah,
read.
because
this
that's what
weekend, too.
Silence of Our Friends. Like
It
that's
was-
what it comes from. Is that famous MLK quote? It's like we will remember the words of our enemies. We'll remember the silence of our friends.
Yeah, and then like they all
That's
like
the
at the
title
end,
of the
like
book.
the last couple pages is just like them
walking
marching
together.
together, and like the African American man is like holding hands with the white children, and
Yeah.
it was like
Which
It was a very powerful ending.
which reminds me of like the I Have a Dream speech. You know,
Yeah.
like holding hands in the street.
mm-hmm.
So I like how it ended with the whole tied in into like current events and like Dr. King
Yeah.
getting shot.
And for it being like a pretty big graphic novel, I like at first I looked at the book and I was like, wow, this is gonna take me a while. I think it maybe took me like an hour tops.
Yeah, it took me.
Oh, really?
It did not take me.
It's
that
a quick read.
Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes
I'll
is
read
pretty
it.
quick.
Yeah, I also was thinking just like this book was pretty heavy subject matter for elementary school, but like there's
especially with the language involved.
with the language, yeah, and like all sorts of
Swearing, and
totally.
derogatory terms.
But I think I want to be able to find like graphic novels of like different content areas that I can have in the classroom, because I feel like kids are often like feel kind of stifled by like, oh, books are only this type of book.
Yeah.
And so like that was I had that idea too before reading this book. I thought I didn't even really think about graphic novels
I
ever.
mean, yeah.
Too like because for elementary kids we know like the Captain Underpants and Bone.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah, those. So I wonder, can there be places to find graphic novels with important literary themes and things like that that you can use in an elementary school classroom that isn't
Yeah,
just like
really.
Captain Underpants?
Just
Maybe
like
that,
characters doing silly things.
Yeah, like something with like an
That
actual
website.
meaning.
What do you guys think of the video about graphic novels with the three like professionals?
Oh, that was super
It
interesting.
was kind of interesting to see like the different viewpoints
Yeah,
from the professionals.
I definitely get the author's viewpoint, or like why somebody would think that. I guess like that it's like just a stepping stone, or like, and I might have like agreed with her more before reading Persepolis, because I don't know. I don't think I ever was like, oh, graphic novels aren't like a value, or because I've like seen ones that are, and that like my little brother has read and like really connected with, but I had never like connected with one.
Yeah,
in
me
that
either.
same way, and learned so much. Like that was what mostly blew my mind. I felt like Persepolis was this like gift to me where I like
This
got to
huge
learn
learning experience.
totally
Yeah,
like
it is.
and really see through that.
Of her.
like
Yeah, girl, as she's growing up with all the stuff
Yeah.
happening around her.
I want to read it.
I'm wondering if like
You should.
I read that book and you read that book, what our interpretations of it would be.
Which one?
The
Persepolis?
Persepolis, just because it's from like a female perspective. Like I'm wondering what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that book though.
You know, yeah, I think that was one that we got to like choose.
Yeah, it was one of the horror ones. Yeah,
But
so
also like I don't know, the
if you
Silence of
wanna-
Our Friends was
if you
from a
wanna
male
read Silence of Our Friends,
perspective.
you
can read
Yeah.
it.
And like
It seems like we all kind of got the same thing out
yeah,
of
so
it.
maybe we'd probably be able to connect with her a little bit more. But I was
Yeah, it'll be more of a window for me than a mirror.
She definitely speaks to the feminine experience, and you can like find yourself in that. But it's also so different, of course. Because
I don't really
The
experience
cultural
that.
context.
Like
For me, reading the graphic novel, it wasn't necessarily like an easy read because I felt like I really had to like pay attention to the illustrations and really like focus on the words and what they were saying and how the pictures like related to the words, and just like it totally painted a different picture for me than I probably would have painted in my head if I was just reading the words without any sort of like graphics on the page. So it was really interesting to see it from like the illustrator's perspective.
Yeah,
It kind of put faces to the words, which was kind of like helpful for me almost.
And did
because
you
I'm like,
notice,
this is
like,
like
the
a real
small-
person. These are real people.
The small text
The
bubbles?
really small
Yeah.
text that you couldn't read.
I took that as like that they were like murmuring under their breath.
Or something.
Because
Yeah.
I couldn't read it. I could tell they were words.
Yeah, there were like these
First time I was
tiny-
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that added like a cool, almost like real life element where you
Mhm.
were like watching a show.
It's
Yeah,
like
I felt like
different
I was-
tones of voices and
Yeah,
volumes.
And then
and
there's and then the big text of when they were singing,
Mhm.
you know, kind
Yeah.
of made
I
it
totally
louder
started
in
singing
your
the
head.
song. Like I was like,
Yeah, I like that.
What's it called in the movie when they like have like all those different pictures and like words like
A
before?
montage?
And I know like
sometimes.
before they filmed the movie,
Montage.
board.
Oh,
I don't know.
a
Storyboard?
Storyboard.
Oh.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a storyboard.
Yeah.
Very
you know,
similar, yeah.
like where it's just like very cinematic and very like I felt like I like
And
could be
there's like
watching.
cut scenes too.
Yeah.
Like, where there was just a
Where it
page
would
that
just
was
be like a-
black.
Yeah, and I
and
thought
then
about
it
that. I was
different
like,
on the next page.
I was wondering if the content that it was talking about, like if they used black pages because they were talking about African Americans at that point, because there were plain white pages too.
Yeah,
and so
that-
I
that
wasn't
is
sure
true.
if that
Oh,
like,
that's
meant
was
a
like a
anything.
Good
transition.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
It's interesting that like so many people draw comparisons between like movies and graphic novels, and I think it like makes a lot of sense. But I also think it's easy if you focus too much on that comparison, you get trapped into the mindset that author in the discussion had, thinking that it takes like less work or less imagination.
I think if the
Yeah.
child's
Creative
reading,
thought.
the child's reading, and that's great. You know?
And I think it takes more sort of critical
Thinking.
analysis and
More
thinking to make
focus, like the
connections
authors
between
did.
the text and the pictures, and
Mhm.
where there's so much detail and like things like that
Yeah.
may be symbolic.
And to me, it was like more sensory, because like when their text that I couldn't read or text that was loud, and not text that was bigger, it was
Mhm.
louder or it was softer. Like I was like
Yeah.
hearing
Yeah.
that dialogue even though it wasn't spoken. And like same with like different things, like with the pictures, I could be like I can
There's
maybe
little,
smell or
Yeah.
feel what that like little pond is that you're grabbing in or wherever they were
Yeah.
bay.
there's like little details in the pictures that you wouldn't get from reading the text.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too for like younger readers or readers who are just starting, things like graphic novels can help because then they can use pictures to decipher like a word that they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like and use the context clues to kind of help them
Totally.
progress in their reading.
And those are the literacy strategies you're supposed to teach anyway.
Did you guys notice in Silence of Our Friends the scene when they were like at the rodeo? Like it was like a prisoner rodeo?
Yeah. That
The
was
guy,
really interesting.
the guy who won, did you notice he went up to the fence and kissed a white girl? Did you
Yeah.
notice
Yeah,
that?
I noticed that.
Yeah, I like that part because they didn't. There was no words. Like that was just a
It was-
series of pictures that was like not important enough to have dialogue, I guess. But it was still like
Yeah, and that to me also spoke a lot
Powerful.
about like veterans too, and like what happens when they come back from the war.
mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, I saw a lot of parallels from that. Like what happens when you come back from a war, and what happens once Martin Luther King, or like what happens after the Civil Rights Movement. You know, like what happens once you've come back from that. Like what do you do next?
Yeah.
You know, like what place in society do you have after that? And it's like I saw that very similar to like veterans coming back from a war.
Yeah.
And I think that was interesting to like drop it on.
I think that the white reporter, because he was a soldier, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that was part of the reason why he was kind of already racially accepting, is because they fought alongside each other, so that he had probably already felt some kind of level of like camaraderie with African Americans. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
didn't see him as like if you fought beside me, probably saved my life on more than one occasion. Like you're good.
I'll
And
save
so-
your life, you'll save mine.
Yeah. So
I wonder if that female that kissed the black prisoner, like I wonder if that's something that, I mean it obviously was like a public display of affection, but I wonder if that's something where like people back home like know about her relationship, because I can't imagine like what it would be like being a white female and having like an African American
mhm.
like significant other that's in prison like during that time.
it made me
period.
wonder if
Like,
that
you
was
know.
why he was in prison. That's
I
immediately
didn't
where
think
I
about
went.
that.
It's like because he went straight up to the fence after getting like the bag of money off.
Yeah.
And like kissed her through the fence, and I was just, I immediately
That
thought
could-
that was like
Yeah,
why
be
he
a
was in
reason why
prison.
he was in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I was just like he's in prison.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the where the girl doesn't match Marisol
Mhm.
McDonald?
That was good.
Mhm.
I also had never seen a bilingual picture book like that before.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so for
I
me,
like
it was
that
so
there was
cool.
the bilingual.
Did you guys read both of it? Like, I don't know. Did you guys have a background in Spanish?
I don't
Like,
remember enough
No.
Spanish.
No.
Kind of.
I could read both, and I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have
Yeah,
a background
I-
in Spanish?
yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, I took 4 years of it, but never really applied it that much, so I can't really speak it, but I can read it really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read some of the pages.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty fun to like refresh my memory in Spanish.
And that's
'Cause
so
you,
cool that
you know what the translation is because it's
One
right
book
there.
can speak to 2 different languages. Like, I
Mhm.
think that's so cool. It's not like they have it printed in English and then they have it printed in Spanish in
Yeah.
like 2 different books. Like, I just
It's
I don't
right
know.
Yeah.
together with
Yeah.
each other.
My mom, she's like fluent in Spanish and from like New Mexico, and I reread this. I would always read the. Have you ever read the? It's like, Are You My Mother?
Uh-huh.
It's like he like goes up to like the
Mhm.
bulldozer and all.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we have one that's like in Spanish and English on either side, and it was really cool because I was able to like see like her skills in that too. And like when she was reading it to me, I think gave like I don't know, gave a lot of like ownership for her too.
I thought that book was cool too because it's like any kid, like whether you relate to like a student would relate to the bilingual mismatch, I guess, of her experience is like, I don't know, that would be cool and a great way to like see themselves in literature, but at the same time, like any kid could see themselves in that book, I think.
Yeah, like I totally could.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's all probably been parts where we, like in our life where we feel like we don't match or don't fit. in.
Yeah, we've had somebody being like, go for it, like be yourself, you
You're like,
know.
okay.
You're like, alright.
Yeah, I just love how like true to herself she was, and like anytime someone
Uh-huh.
would tell her that she didn't match, like she was like,
Mhm.
"That's okay, like I'm
Mhm.
fucking awesome." Like I don't know, she didn't say that, but she did have that point.
That
in
was
time
attitude.
where she did kind of fall into that pressure and like
Mhm.
tried to be like normal or normalized, and then realized like
It
this
doesn't
isn't for
work.
me. But
Yeah.
I liked the teacher that she gave her that note. That was like,
Mhm.
I love this about you, but I was like, you also told her that she didn't match. So that's kind of a mixed message because in the beginning she's like, you can't write in cursive and
Mhm.
non-cursive. What's normal handwriting called? Just
Print.
Print. And
Manuscript.
so it's like she's kind of like sending her this mixed message, but I'm happy that she gave her that note. That was like,
Because it
I
could
love
have
all
been,
of these things about you.
like the
These are what
teacher may
makes-
have had a change too, like
Yeah.
a change in heart.
Yeah.
Because I think she saw how sad she was
Was
trying to
fit
when
in.
she was being normal. Like she painted like the difference of her painting.
Yeah.
Where the
Like she
second
had all
time
these
around,
weird
it was just a
animals
basic house.
And how her
Yeah.
And then she was like
And
probably
her name.
going like this, you know. So I think she finally realized that like
This is how she
yeah.
I feel like that's probably an experience we'll go through as teachers too, where you like
Oh, yeah.
say something to a kid. Like, I mean, I've already gone through this experience. You say something to a kid and you look back and you're like,
I
Oh,
really wish I
shoot,
could
that,
say
like,
that. Yeah.
totally could have ruined their day, or
Yeah.
like something like that.
Yeah.
And
And what
finding a way
you
to
say
turn
to
around and
students
validate
really like stays.
Yeah, it's amazing
Mhm.
like how much impact we have
Yeah.
like as teachers.
it's scary.
Like I remember like in second grade, for instance, like I would always raise my hand and like just say random things, and then my
Yeah.
teacher would be like, "Hey, stop! Like being distracting. Like you're distracting the class. Like all these things." Which is very true. I was. And then like third grade, my teacher like I raised my hand. I just like said a random observation about life, and she was like, like being observant like is a sign of intelligence, but like I'm glad you shared. How does that relate to what we were just talking about? And like she had like a whole link to like what we were talking about, and like challenged me to do that. But like I had like that was at
Just
like
a different ways.
that was like halfway through like third grade, because I remember like all of like halfway through I was like I shouldn't raise my hand because I always got in trouble last year, because it was like one thing that my teacher had said in second grade.
Yeah.
It was just like crazy.
And it's like, and you remember things like that from like
Mhm.
elementary school because it stuck with you and it made you like change.
Mm-hmm. Like I changed my behavior because of like one sentence she said to me.
And I love that Marisol was like just this perfect mixture between her mom and her
Yeah.
She was like everything about it was like perfect.
dad. Like the red hair from the dad and the dark skin from the mom.
Scottish, or is she like Scottish? Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think the story would have changed though if it wasn't the teacher who gave her that note and it was one of her friends? Do you think it would have changed the story?
It's a good question.
Because I like how the teacher played like the more powerful role and like got her to be herself.
Yeah.
But what if? Because so then it kind of like
Or
sheds
like, what if
teachers
she
in a
never
good
got
light.
a note like that and
Yeah.
like
But But what if
she
it was
has
like a
it
friend
say-
who said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you seem down. What's wrong? Why aren't you matching colors?" You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I think
Like
that
all of
would,
her friends just kind of went along with it.
Yeah.
I think that would have been
That's what's
That
really
would've been
powerful
cool
too.
perspective.
I think it would have been maybe not more powerful, but like powerful just like the same amount, but in a different way.
I feel like because then kids reading that book would be like, oh, I could like make someone's day if I say something.
Right,
nice
and like
about
give
them.
more
I know
notice
empowerment.
down.
I think
Yeah.
the author did it intentionally that the teacher would be the one who
Could've got
changed
the
things
light,
because
yeah.
then like you're not like you're probably reading that story to kids to like teach them to be themselves, right? But then it's also speaking to the teacher that we
Except the
can,
We need
kids.
to
if we
affirm.
see kids like
Yeah.
obviously conforming to peer pressure and stuff like that
Yeah.
Then
it's not necessarily our job, but it kind of is sometimes that
Oh,
we
totally.
should
And I
say
feel like a
something,
lot of
step
things
up,
like that
and
get
like
overlooked by teachers.
And I feel like-
so it teaches
It's like
students
in
and
our
teachers
hands
kind of
to,
while
like-
reading that book.
Yeah, do something.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
right.
cool
And I
perspective.
feel like too, it's part of it. Like every kid's gonna come to you a certain way, and you accept them as they are,
Mhm.
and don't say things that would make them change who they are, because
Yeah.
that's like every kid comes in and
Their
they're
own person.
yeah, as their own person, and you shouldn't do anything to try and change their personality or the way they think, or not so much but I mean, like telling Marisol that she doesn't match, like that sort of stuff, that can seriously affect somebody. So
Yeah.
you have to be like really careful.
Totally.
What did you guys think of Encounter? The one that was the video.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I didn't.
I think it was. I really like the theme of this week of like the single story and like seeing things from other perspectives.
Was this the TED Talk?
This was the one where it was like the Native.
Oh yes.
I guess
Oh,
they're still
I
American.
know.
Christopher-
I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's Tainno.
It was like
Prince
the
Tainno.
indigenous person and Christopher Columbus coming in and like his perspective
Yeah.
of it, which is cool because I remember reading a book in elementary school about like Christopher Columbus's like journey to
Oh, yeah.
That's all
The
happy.
hero.
and then like it was pretty sad. It was a sad.
I totally thought that was interesting how, like, I noticed it too, but also Joy pointed out in the book that, like, when you don't think as someone, like, don't think of someone as a human, like, you relate them to animals, and that was, like, super consistent throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
And there was, like, an animal, like, I think almost on each page. But I don't know, it was just interesting too, like, when the page that I kind of stuck with me the most was when there were, like, the tribal people behind, like, the bushes kind of lower in the picture, and then,
Yeah.
like, the Columbus people were all, like, standing proud and high up
And
above
they're,
them,
like,
and I
suits
was
of
like,
armor.
that just kind of shows, like, that power.
Mm-hmm.
And that last image.
Like what we
at
did
the
last
very
week.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking when I saw that, I was thinking of like when you analyze in picture books and like are they higher or lower.
Mhm.
What were you saying?
At the last image of him with his feet like vanishing, and he's wearing, you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
clothing, and I
horrible.
was just like, whoa.
Do
And then with,
even
like,
have
the
feet?
city in the background and stuff,
Yeah.
too, and, like,
Sad. One thing I wrote about though, like in response to that book, like, was I don't know. You just wonder, like, was the child the only one who was apprehensive about welcoming these people, or was there more of a dialogue within that group?
like, among the adults.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, 'cause it does kind of seem like
Did they
he was
have
the
a
only
choice?
one.
Like, oh, like, yeah, like, oh, they're just gonna welcome them and, like, exchange whatever. Like, I don't know, you'll hear that over and over again, even from either perspective. Like, and I don't know. So I thought it sort of, like, maybe took some of the depth out of the situation to have him, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it is like from a child's point of view, so he sees it that he was the only one trying, whereas
That's
they're probably
true.
And he wasn't
totally
being listened to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there were probably people who disagreed with what was going on too.
I thought it was interesting that, like, the tribal people were giving them, like, these really, I don't know, like, heartfelt gifts that they, like,
yeah.
were
That was
Also
hard
ones that were
stuff.
jokes, though, like, giving them parrots.
And then, but then, like, the Columbus people would have, like, these swords and stuff that, like, only let them touch it, and, like,
And then his hand all like got cut.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought that was really interesting. He's
Yeah.
like, it like you could see it, but like no one, like it was silent.
Yeah.
Which I was like,
I feel like if a kid's hand is bleeding, like,
dude,
you're
it's a problem.
yeah.
Keep your hands bleeding.
Grab some Band-Aids.
Yeah, I think it's really important, because history is written from the people who did the conquering. So I think it's really cool to hear a story from someone who's been conquered too.
And it's nice too to have it in a kids book format because I don't know about anybody else, but in my elementary school it was so happy. Christopher Columbus did all these good things. Thanksgiving was great and fun and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to have kids books that incorporate other perspectives and other ways to sort of say, hey, that actually wasn't really what happened, you know.
I think it's important for them to understand that Columbus wasn't necessarily a good guy. Because there's a pretty, at least with our generation, there's our perception of him was that, oh, he was great, he discovered the Americas, you know what I mean? this country wouldn't be here without him.
Columbus
blah, blah, blah.
sailed the ocean blue, or whatever that song was.
The Nina Pinta and the Santa Maria, these 3 ships, that's ingrained in my brain for some reason because we studied Columbus for such a long time. And then
See, I remember.
now they're not, and they're flipping it. Columbus Day isn't a school day, a holiday anymore. They took it away. Now it's Indigenous People Day or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember learning about Columbus, but I don't remember what I learned about him. To be honest, I don't know much about him, which
I just remember they portrayed him in elementary school. They portrayed him in a really positive light that he befriended the natives.
He was an explorer.
And lived among them.
Yeah, I
That
remember.
is the exact opposite of history.
I had one girl in my dorm freshman year. She was from Lummi, and she was going to Western, and she was telling me, I was I talked to her about Christopher Columbus. It's Columbus Day was coming, and I was what do you feel about that? And she was how would you feel about having a Hitler Day?
Yeah, seriously.
Because all of the genocide that happened.
Yeah.
Oh God, I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's kind of cool that he I don't know,
Striking
gave you that perspective.
comparison.
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus himself was British, right? But he was sailing
No.
for Spain.
Yeah.
Spain.
Was he
Ferdinand and
Spanish, though?
Isabel sent him.
I thought he was
English and-
hired by Spain.
Okay.
Right,
for sure.
Because he was a Christian, I'm pretty sure, and wanted to assimilate the native people, and if they didn't, he would kill
I
them.
mean, Spain was under
Christian.
yeah, they're
But yeah, I
under the
think
Pope, right?
That's Catholicism, but
Well, that's what they were.
yeah.
what chapters did you guys read?
I read Tunnel Chapter 9 about folklore and tales.
I read both.
Yeah,
I only wrote about chapter
I
7.
skimmed
Yeah, I wrote
those.
about the history of graphic novels.
Oh.
So you kind of got a lot of graphic novel
Yeah,
knowledge.
how it really picked up in the 1950s and stuff with superheroes as
And how it was
First
originally
World War
designed
thing.
for adults.
yeah, so that was pretty cool to kind of get that beginning aspect of it and how it went from the 4-panel comic strips to becoming books and things like that.
It's interesting that, when we were reading about folklore, the kinds of things that, I don't know, it was always intended for adults as were, or comics and stuff, but they sort of have been taken by the younger generations now, younger.
Yeah, the author of Bone was saying in that video that he intended the Bone series for adults, but then when they got older, they started teaching it to their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And now Bone is a kid's book because of that generation change. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Yeah.
And it shows too that some of the graphic novels can have two different generations can get stuff from it instead of it being the ones we read I probably wouldn't give to my elementary school students.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's just cool.
In chapter 9, it was talking about folklore and how different cultures have different tales, but they all have the same kind of almost theme around them, whether that's fear or love or greed or basic human experiences. And I thought that was kind of cool because different tales originated at different times, but they all kind of have people from other cultures can relate to them because they have that basic human experience, which I was that's really cool.
Yeah, I feel a lot of stories are a parent tells a kid not to do something, and then they do it, and they find out why. And it's they're trying lessons that you're trying to teach your kids.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. Mine was about all the different types of picture books.
Yeah.
Pretty
I did
dry.
letter A too. It was rather
I
than
skimmed that. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you guys look at my post. You're welcome.
There's so many different kinds of picture books. I did
Yeah.
not expect that.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
something
I
you
think
think about.
that's one thing I really liked about reading this graphic novel though, is because I guess I've been kind of narrow in my idea of what a picture
Yeah.
book is, because there's like everything from like I never really thought that like the books, what are they called, the participation books, where they're like I
Yeah.
Spy or Where's Waldo, like I never really thought of those as picture books. I just thought of those as like activities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
activities.
But like then I like had this whole different perspective and reading all these different types. I was like, okay, how could I use that? Like how could this be a tool for like helping like, finding patterns or looking for like I don't know, searching for things. How could I relate this to something?
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. And also for this picture books, we like had done like a big unit on that this summer, and you and the we did in ELL
This summer in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Beforehand, we like read all like the picture books, wordless picture books. Yeah, I think that it was cool too to like that also opened my eyes to thinking like about like how you could tell a story without words, and how that's really good for also ELL students as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of different books I could talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot of different like
But we can do
types of folk tales, but I feel like if I share those with you,
Yeah, there was like 6 different kinds. Like when they broke down
Yeah.
folklore, there was like 6 different kinds. But
it's
with
like
picture
cumulative
books, there was
tales,
like 12.
beast
It's
tales,
crazy.
noodlehead tales, realistic tales, and fairy tales.
One of the interesting things that I read about, or I guess we probably all did if we read the graphic novel article, but I really liked it. She talked about what graphic novels and comic books, how they're perceived and received in other cultures, like especially Japanese culture, huge in like manga, this for manga.
I think it's manga.
Yeah, and how they're, marketed to teenage girls and stuff like that. I thought it was cool. Or that in French culture, it's always been like an esteemed
I know more
and
males
respected
that are
thing.
into anime than females, I think.
I think typically,
Or like-
but there's
Like that's who it's kind of directed.
there's a bigger. They're trying to. They
They're
appeal to
talking
more
a lot about romance ones.
girls.
Oh,
really
okay.
romantic ones that a bunch of
Oh.
teenage girls grab.
Yeah, they kind of like. go towards
Did you guys
those
ever read like Archie or like Betty and Veronica?
Yeah.
and stuff?
Yeah, I read Betty and Veronica.
Are those
I'd always
comic?
beg
Are those
them.
comic?
Yeah, they're not
American.
good quality out.
They're like
It's very
American, like
newspapers, right?
yeah, you can buy them at like the grocery store in the
Yeah.
checkout line.
I always beg my mom. She'd be like, "Where are you for reading a real book?"
No, Mom, it's Betty and Veronica.
I also talk like that.
Yeah.
You also raise your hand and say randomly. It's okay, Catherine. You're observant of the world. But like, how does that? No, I'm just kidding.
I love that.
I also really liked the video. What's her
The
name?
TED Talk.
TED Talk.
Adichie, Chimamanda.
Yeah.
Adichie, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Chimamanda. Maybe it's,
No, I don't know how to pronounce
I
it.
wrote it down, but that did not help me pronounce it.
No, it's like NGO or something.
But she had so many good quotes in there of just like talking about how when you stop seeing a single story of anything, like that's paradise. And I think that's a really cool way to look at students too. Like their world is not just at school. Like their world is their home life, their world is their families,
And
past,
anything they see.
anything they see, anything they're interacting with, you know.
Everything they're internalizing.
Yeah, so like knowing that like the reasons for their grades or their performance in school is not just related to school.
I thought it was really cool hearing about her life growing up because I feel like in America especially we have such like a one-sided view of Africa, like don't say that because there's starving children in Africa or things like that, you know, like we just have this like negative perception of Africa, especially with like I know I hear a lot of things about like AIDS in Africa and like things like that, and so
Ebola more recently.
yeah, and so just to like hear her, she's like, no, like I grew up in like a wealthy family. I, you know, it was just so interesting to see like that perspective.
Yeah.
Had you ever listened to that TED Talk before?
No.
Had you?
Yeah, like in 3 different classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like,
So-
oh, this girl again. Like, see, I mean,
No wonder
you
you know how to
This
say
whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you express him? What else?
Well, I don't know how to say it. I just remembered what it was.
Yeah, or also like her roommate, and then how she like her perceptions of her when she came to
Yeah.
college. And I was thinking too, like, what? I bet there's been so many times in my life where I've said something that was like blatantly like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Incorrect
Only
or
it's
bad.
like a certain tiny percent of them you realize afterwards.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
like
they
things
say
like
that.
one
I
thing
just
that I
have
said
no
that
idea.
people later are like, that girl has no idea about the world around her.
Like, my roommates all went to, 2 of them went to a very private, very small school and very like sheltered. And then one of them said, in Taiwan they speak Thai, right? And it was just a moment of,
Oh boy.
oh boy, oh no.
Taiwanese, my friend.
How do I enlighten her without causing her a lot of shame?
They also speak Taiwanese too?
Taiwanese is a language, I'm pretty
So
sure.
my roommate,
They speak,
it's
Mandarin,
like 2 different
right?
things.
there's
right?
different
Yeah,
dialects.
because my roommate freshman year was from Taiwan. So.
They call themselves Taiwanese. But then there's this whole debate with Taiwan versus China, and is Taiwan a part of China and all that political stuff too. So.
She told me she spoke Taiwanese.
It may be a dialect.
Maybe just thought
Because
it-
I know
Maybe she
that-
thought you wouldn't catch on.
Well, I think it could be
She's like, oh, this girl.
because like
I got her fooled.
Well, they need somebody to like if it is. I don't
to
know.
specify like I'm not from the mainland China. I'm from Taiwan. This is who I
Yeah.
am. This is my culture. This is my.
Maybe it's similar to the distinction between like British English and American English.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I speak
there's,
American. You
there's a
know?
whole bunch of different dialects, so it could be that's a dialect because I just know the Mandarin and all that sort of stuff.
Huh.
Our money questions.
Oh shoot.
Our money.
They're in there.
I think we talked about.
Well, I have to go find them, so it would make it easier.
Like, just
you
think
had
of
a really
one
good
or two,
question
like,
Yeah,
about
about
what if
Marisol McDonald, if
Yeah.
it was written a different way, would it be as powerful?
As powerful from like the reader's perspective, then like
Yeah, can you
children.
elaborate
or-
on that?
Sorry.
Well, like, just because, like, obviously in the story, the way it goes is that her friends are, like, they want to play pirates, and then the one girl wants to play soccer, but she wants to play, like, soccer playing pirates, and then
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like,
she's
then
like,
they all like, oh, no, that's
"Oh,
weird, blah, and, like, her friends are constant, so, like, the friends aren't playing, like, a positive role in the story. They're, like, viewed kind of negatively, and the
I mean,
only,
even her brother and her cousin were like,
yeah,
you don't match.
yeah, then, like, the
And
only
they look
people
exactly the same, which was
in the story that were, like, positive, kind of, were her father.
weird.
Like that one time at the dinner table where he's like maybe and winked at her, like he was being positive, and then the teacher was the only one that kind of like showed her love and said be yourself. But I'm just wondering, like, would it be different if the teacher never said anything and it was a friend who spoke up? Like what message
Oh,
would it
yeah.
If
tell
like the
kids, like,
acceptance or affirmation came
Yeah.
Came from the people
her
that were
parents.
originally like.
because I think
making her
like with
feel
the
bad.
teacher standing up and saying something and like with the note and all that, that speaks to the adults reading the book to the kids. So like honestly, there was like a lesson for us and the kids when you're
Yeah.
reading it.
I think
Whereas
it speaks to the
the-
kids too, though.
Yeah,
Like,
where if
it's
it wasn't that way, it wouldn't necessarily have a big impact on the teacher reading it.
Well, if you think about the power dynamic between a teacher and the kids, though, maybe the message is more powerful because it's coming from this place of perceived cultural authority, you know?
But like if it was just the friends who were like, Marisol, you're down today, why aren't you matching, what's going on, that would be more of a message
You're not being
to
yourself.
be friendly, like amongst your students,
Yeah.
and to like if your friend's not doing something, speak up.
Yeah.
Whereas
Or even both could happen.
Yeah.
The teacher and the friends.
yeah,
Well, that'd
so
be an
what if the
interesting
te-
thing
what
to
if the-
talk about.
what if they added that, what if they added that in the story where not only did the teacher give her a note, but a friend did say something
Right.
too?
That'd be cool.
Would that
And then
change
she just
the
gets a
dynamic,
flood of
though?
notes and-
Yeah. So I
How's
just thought
it
it was
reflected?
interesting because I was reading that book, keeping in mind the roles
Yeah.
that people were playing, and that's what I noticed was that like
Yeah.
the teacher was the most positive thing in the story. Yeah, even though she was negative in the beginning.
Another question I have is like, where can I find more literary graphic novels for kids?
Yeah, I think you both have that.
So I like want to be able to find ones that have like acclaim and that are award winning or something, but also that like aren't saying
There's
the
a
F
huge
word
there's a
or
huge
whatever.
list in at the end of chapter 7.
Okay, sweet.
They just lists a bunch of books.
And on that
That book is
website,
such an amazing
that
resource.
she
I
linked.
know, right? That's gonna be like. In
I'm
my
keeping
top drawer
that
of my
one.
desk.
She's like, what am I buying at the book fair this
Yeah.
year?
Captain Underpants.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We just have 3 buddy questions.
Just 1 to 3, so we have to
That's
take it
okay.
right in the middle.
Perfect.
Still mad they didn't mention Magic Treehouse.
We're waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, would that technically be a picture book?
No.
There's pictures in it, isn't there?
I don't remember.
I thought there was. Maybe. No?
I mean, think of it.
I think
Maybe
there are.
just
I
have
think
a
there
really
are. I
strong
think there are like
imagination.
half pages of
I think
like
there's
black and
pictures
white.
in it.
I think there are, but like not.
And not like in a
It's
graphic
like once
novel.
a chapter.
Every time you've mentioned Magic Treehouse, I keep thinking about Magic School Bus.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
It's all about Magic Treehouse. Best
Sorry.
series ever written.
Sorry.
So Jared really
I
connected
still read
with.
them. I still read them. Number
You're
85.
right now.
It's about-
It's like framed on your wall.
yeah.
The platinum edition.
Okay, so
I
any
think
last
we covered
thoughts?
I
everything.
think we got it.
We'll say buddy questions within the last 5 minutes.
Bye, Joy.
Bye, Joy. Thanks
Bye,
for
Joy.
listening. Oh, okay. You're such a joy to be around.
Aw.
This is